Hello everybody! It is not Tuesday, it's Wednesday, and you are in the right place if you are here for live paper crafting. So if you are just joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. My name is Joanne Rogers. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. And what does that mean? I've been saying that for years now. What it means is that I have all kinds of fun making different designs and sharing them with you so that you can create in your own basement, in your own little room, at the kitchen table, wherever it is that you craft, and you can make something delightful for somebody else. And you can have that huge sense of accomplishment and you can say, I made that. And it's such a wonderful feeling, isn't it? Going to be using a layout today, and I'm going to show you all kinds of ways that you can use it to jumpstart your creativity. I think I've got 6 or 7 samples today, so you want to stick around to the end so that you can see those. I'm going to make a card, and I'm also going to play with a hybrid embossing folder or bundle. It is the Sweet Citrus bundle, and you guys gave me a challenge again because you picked the hybrid embossing folder and bundle, and then you picked the colors. So Sweet Citrus is it, and when you think about citrus, we think about orange and yellow, pink, and then you gave me the colors of blues and turquoise. So we'll see what we come up with. We'll see what we play with. We're going to be working with a template, and that's the whole premise of the class. So my class is all about the power of layouts for amazing cards. And I show you in that class and hopefully teach you how you can create unique cards every single time you sit down at your craft table. You don't have to look at a card and make it exactly the same way I made it or somebody else on the internet made it or the way you made it last week or last month. It is a card, taking templates or sketches or layouts, whatever you want to call them, and using them just amps up your game. It really just makes it that much brighter and more spectacular. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that today, and then I want you to think about that class because it's only $20, but only until tomorrow night at midnight. So let me give you the particulars on the class. Let me show you some of the samples from the class, and then we are going to make what we're going to make today. So I'm going to point you down. Okay, so this is my class. It's called The Power of Layouts for Amazing Cards, and it's an online class. Most of my classes now are online, meaning that I pre-record them and then you can watch them whenever you want. You get lifetime access. So it will launch on this coming Friday in the morning at 8 a.m. my time, Mountain Time. And you have access to that whenever you want. So if you can't watch it right away, you want to watch it next month, next week, 2 years from now as a refresher, you can still do that. It is yours as long as I'm around and I don't have any plans on going anywhere. So this is where you want to go to find out a little bit more about it, but I'm going to tell you everything you need right now. You go to www.designwithjo.ca/powerlayout. Okay. And right now you can save $5, so it's only $20. And what you get is I'm going to show you how to make 3 different cards, and then I'm going to give you 2 more alternatives for each of those cards. So you also get the template or the layout for each one of them, and you get all the cutting measurements in imperial measurements for all the cards, not just the ones that I make for you, so that you can copy those if you want. But my whole goal is not to have you do any copying of my exact cards. I want you to use whatever you have, not go out and buy anything new and create from the stash of supplies that I think you probably already own. So I'm going to show you just the template, the layout, the sketch for this particular card. So this is blown up. This is big, but today's is simple, and I want to show you how you can change up a simple layout and have it be something more than simple, so that your creativity, your originality, the uniqueness of you and how you craft comes across. Okay, so I'll pull this back in a little bit later too. I'll just tuck it back here for now. Okay, so we are going to, you guys asked for me to show you a little bit about a hybrid bundle. So a hybrid embossing bundle in actual fact. And it's in the mini catalog. And this it will be carrying over into the annual catalog as well. But the bundle is retiring. So you want to pick it up when you can get 10% off. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? So this is the stamp set here, and you can see that there's lots of citrusy stuff here, some leaves as well, but there's flowers, and there's some really fun little sayings. So have a zesty birthday, enjoy the sweeter things in life, sending you a big squeeze, and thanks a bunch. So that is the stamp set. But it also comes with an embossing folder, which they're not really showing here. They're showing in a tiny little bit right down here, but I'll show it in a little bit more detail. But they also show you here, so there's samples on both sides of the spread. And here they're going from simpler, probably, to more elaborate, shall we say. So simpler over here is just using the embossing folder by itself and throwing in a few of the flowers. Then we are using just the stamp set, but we're stamping a bunch of different things at the same time. And we're actually using 2 different colors. And then we are going to be cutting out and embossing. And that's what a hybrid embossing folder does. It allows you to stamp and then emboss it and cut it out at the same time. So you stamp first and then you emboss and cut out at the same time. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So that is the Sweet Citrus bundle. And I don't want you to forget about the other bundles we also have that are being retired. But here it is in the flesh, or in the zest, shall we say. And so inside we have the embossing folder. Okay, so it's our standard size embossing folder. It's 3D, so it is a big fat one. And it has different shapes of when you cut into a lemon, or when you cut into a grapefruit or an orange. And they actually do look just a little bit different. So that's our embossing folder that we're going to play with. And then we have our dies. So the dies work with the embossing folder, and I'm going to show you especially how this one works with the embossing folder, because this is the hybrid part right here. So we're going to use that. And I've also cut out some of these, and I'll show you those later. And the stamps I've already pulled out. Okay, so let me put this aside for a moment. So when we first just emboss this folder, this is what you get. Okay, so when you emboss it, what you get is, I've just done this on white. It runs through there just like a regular 3D embossing folder. Nothing special about it, and you have a beautiful background. And that's what I used for the first card. That really was the basis of our sketch. Okay, so if I pull in our sketch again, or our layout, I told you that was really big. This is where it came from. So it's just the embossed background here. And then we have our sentiment, which is bordered by another piece. And on this one, it's just a ribbon. So just a ribbon that's looped and it comes down below, and then a few dots. Okay, so that is simple. You could even go simpler and not have the green background if you wanted to, and it would still be a beautiful card. So I'm going to be using our Stamparatus, and as I think most of you know, or if you don't know, this will be disappointing news. Our Stamparatus has been retired. It is no longer available. It is sold out. And so I'm hoping that if you had wanted to get it, that you got everything that you wanted already. Okay, so I am going to use green. I'm going to create a little bit of the lime. Do I want a lime? Yeah, we're going to go for lime. So I'm using Pear Pizzazz, so not as bright as, say, our new coming back Lemon Lime Twist, or Parakeet Party, or even Granny Apple Green. But I wanted to use Pear Pizzazz because it is retiring, and because it is one of my favorite colors, and it's going. And then I have So Saffron, which is another retiring color. So when I am working with my Stamparatus, I like to use my little Stampin' Spots, because then I don't get ink everywhere. How many of you do that already? Okay, so I'm just giving it a really good covering of ink. I'm going to put in just a piece of white here. Make sure I'm in the right spot. I think I am. And can you see that, or am I in the wrong spot? Okay, and I'm just going to take one of these tissues that I put for my cold here, and I think I'm going to give this another run, only because I can see that. I'm hoping I'm going to be in the right spot now because I moved it just slightly. I want to give a little bit more green. I don't like how that green is looking. I want it to be a little bit more solid than that. And my saffron as well. I missed down here. Everything else is not too bad, but I did miss down here. Now you could use the other stamps, other pads, no problem. They're going to give you a great result too. You're just going to get a little bit more ink over there. Okay, so now we're going to do the inside of them, and I want to do the inside in, I'm going to do the inside. I think we're going to make, let's make a lemon here. So this is going to be the cut lemon. I'm going to make that a lemon, and then I put away my other one. I think I'm going to have to use my big one. I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. Let me grab it. That Flirty Flamingo made a great grapefruit color. So we're just going to ink this up so it goes a little bit quicker when you do use this. And then you just stamp it right over top. Lift it up again. And then you have your citrus fruits. So you can use this, and in one of the samples that we saw there, that's the way it was used. But now we're going to do the hybrid part of this. So I'm going to pull in the embossing folder again. And with this embossing folder, what you do is you're going to place this right over top. So you want to have it so that the cutting side is facing you, and it's going to be on the side that has the Stampin' Up! Logo on it. And it fits right in there. And actually I could get it out of there, but there's like a little trough that it fits in right there. Now, the hardest part to this is actually putting your stamped pieces over top in the right spot. And I found that this does take a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of patience to get it actually to move around the right way. But once you get it there, what you do, hold on a sec. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to do this first. Let's get this all set up in here first. And did I put my white not quite in the right spot? No, I think we're okay. So I'll get that all set up in there first. The white needs to be on the bottom part, and then this is going to go right over top. Okay, but it needs to go on that part over top. Okay, there we go. Now you want to hold that in place to make sure it doesn't move, and mine just moved. And you know what? I never had this problem at all when I was playing with this. So I'm thinking that it's just not my day. Let's get it tucked in there and then closed, because we want this to be cut the right way. Okay, so now what we're going to do is run that through our cut and emboss machine. But what we want to do is we would need to run this through as if it were an embossing folder. So we don't want to run it through as if it is a die cut. So we only want to use our number 1. Then we're going to put in our embossing folder, and we're going to use our number 4. Okay, and that's going to cut and it's going to emboss at the same time. It makes all kinds of nice little noises there. And then when you take it out, what you have are your pieces that just come right out of there. Now, I might not have, that one's just catching a tiny little bit. Now, one thing you can do, one thing I did notice is that what really helped on this one was sometimes to put just a one piece of Post-it note. Now sometimes if you ever have a problem and your die cuts don't seem to be cutting really, really well with your cut and emboss machine, what you can do is just add one piece of your Post-it note. So what you do is just put it right on top and run that through, and then that should cut it completely. So this guy here, I'm just going to cut him out because or pull him out actually, because he's mostly cut, and I'll just trim around there. Now, if you think, oh, okay, now I've got a piece that is sort of useless. No, you don't. Okay, so we're going to do a few more things with that. This is a great trick if you ever have problems with your dies not cutting properly. It's thin enough that it's not going to feel like you're having to really reef on your emboss machine, but it's thin enough that it just gives that tiny little bit of a shim so that it cuts better. Put that away. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pull in just a little bit of our blending brush, and you see I have green, and I'm going to go for Granny Apple Green on this case, and I'm going to pick up a little bit, tap it off, and I'm going to go right over top of this guy right here. So it's just a way that you can add some color to the embossed image, and you are going to get something that you can cut out and play with. So there's all kinds of ways that you can play with a hybrid embossing folder and a set of dies and the stamps. So that's how you can do that, and then you can cut them out. So what I've got here now, I have some things cut out. We are going to use this guy and this guy for our card, and I want to come back to our template. Okay, so these are all the ones that I've created. So you can see here all the different colors that I played with. So you can make lemons or limes. I might want that lemon, we'll see. Here's more grapefruit. Here's another one where I just colored it after it was a white embossed. We'll leave that one out. Maybe I'll want that one too. I think that's probably it. We'll see what those look like. And I have a couple more in here. So I've got all kinds of stuff. And then I also have one little set of leaves. Alrighty, so let's start creating. Oh, you said blues and turquoises. So I pulled in a piece of Tahitian Tide, and I decided that I'm not going to emboss this one, because just because you have it doesn't mean that you have to emboss. So I'm just going to go with a plain back on this one, and we're not going to emboss with anything. So I'm going to glue that down right now. So just with my liquid glue all the way around there, and put it down on top. So this is just 4 by 5 1/4, and then 4 1/4 by 11 piece of white thick. And when you are doing it as the base of your card, you do really want it to be thick, because it's just going to stand up so much better for you. So there is that guy. So now what we need is, I pulled in just a piece of white. So this white is 3/4 by 3 1/2, and the daffodil it's 7/8 by 3 5/8. So it's just going to give a little tiny bit of a border. I've got Tahitian Tide ink. I'm going to pull in this guy here. I really do like to use these little graph pads. I sure hope that they bring them back. Must be one of those days. Just because I'm all stuffed up, I'm going to try and get this straight on here. This is one of my favorite colors, and it is sticking around for another year, but then it'll be gone. And I suspect it'll be gone for at least 4 years, if not longer, because we are just doing a color refresh this year. So we will not see a color refresh for another fairly lengthy period of time, I don't think. Probably 5 years or so. And then what we're going to do, so on the first one, let me bring it back in. This is the card. We have a piece of ribbon here, and we just have our words. And so it's the same words. I didn't realize they were the same words, but we're not going to use ribbon this time. What we're going to do instead is we are going to put in some of our leaves, and I think maybe, what should we do? What looks better here? No, I don't think with the pink in there, it doesn't look quite so wonderful. Let's try, what else have I got here? That's a lemon. That's a lime. And I have the bright. Does the bright look a little bit better? Maybe it does. Let me know what you think there. Maybe those ones look like a good combination, right? So that's what we're going to put down. Now I could stamp all over the back of that if I wanted, but I'm not going to. I want just a fairly simple card. So I'm going to take some of my glue dots here. Now I do have lots of samples to show you. I'm going to put it first onto the back of my, I want to show the little the little dotted part of the lime. I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to place that over here. And then I'm going to put this over top. And I am just going to glue that down as well because we're going to use dimensionals on our words. So this is embossed, this guy here, so it's going to give you lots of fun texture to play with. So that's going to glue down. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of here. That's your card. Let's just put this guy on the inside. Oh, I don't need white on the inside, do I? And maybe let's put a lime on the inside too. So once you start making some of these, you just want to keep on making them. They are so much fun to play with. Glossy dots, which are bright yellow. And actually, the blue. Let's try that. So let's go for, I think maybe, let's go for a little bit of these. These ones will look great on there. And oh, they're really stuck. I think we'll put this guy up here. Put the big one. I'll go for the big one down here. I like to tuck them in behind there. Oh, the putty came off. And oh, should we do another couple? Yeah, I was going to go yellow, but I think I like the blue better. I think that it just it adds some shine and a little bit of color, but not too much. See, now I'm looking for a spot here, so I should probably just leave well enough alone, and I'm going to say that's good for our embellishments. Now I want to show you a whole bunch of samples, okay, because this is, I just want to bring in that template again really, really quick. So you can see how, well, I'll bring in the card. You can see how it's basically the same card, right? So all you need is a length here. So it's you want to have a set of writing that has a little bit of length to it. So not something that's short and what's the word I want? Short and stout, roundish or more square-ish. But you don't have to use ribbon. But you can use ribbon and change up the background. So this background is very, very plain. Now, let's see. I'm going to stick with the Sweet Citrus bundle, and I want to show you a bunch of different ones in here. So here's another one. Exactly the same. Okay, so it's exactly the same kind of idea, but we're using a bigger piece here to draw attention to the focal point, and I do have it embossed in the background. I have a different color for my background, so I have just given a little bit more oomph so that it stands out. So we're sticking pretty much the same here. So now what if we change it up a little bit? So what if we're still using the same Sweet Citrus bundle, except I'm using the brick embossing folder, and this is a 3D embossing folder that's being retired, and this is the Pear Pizzazz on the So Saffron. Same kind of thing, except this time I threw in a little bit of our Baker's Twine in behind, and I lowered the greeting. Okay, so you can play with placement here with one of your templates. Okay, so here you can see the greeting sort of is in the exact same place on these three, smaller one here, and here it's lowered. So it gives a slightly different look. We're going to play with that zesty bundle one more time. So here's just the flowers from the bundle. So I have a Zesty Birthday. So this is in your turquoises and your blues. This is the Orchid Oasis. This is the Congrats and Birthday Celebrate, I think it's called, embossing folders. There's 2 in a set. And this is a narrow embossing folder. So I embossed it twice on here to get so that the whole thing was covered, and then just did some flowers, and I used some of the ombre in color here to get some of our flowers that were just a little bit glossy and sparkly. So there's that, guys. So that's how you can change it up a little bit too. So those are all done with the Sweet Citrus bundle, and yeah, maybe they look similar, but let's see how we could change it up a little bit more. They're similar, but I think if you gave this card to somebody and then 3 months later you gave them this card, well, no, not the birthday ones. If you gave them this one and then gave them this one for their birthday a few months later, I'm not sure that they'd say, oh, well, Sally Stamper made the same card for me. But Denise is saying spring colors. Yes, Denise, they are spring colors. But let's try something a little different. So how about if we take a die instead? So these are the tulips dies. And so what I did, it's just a die. This is a cutout die that I sponged with a little bit of the Daffodil Delight ink. Did our greeting down below, put one of the classic dots, and you know what? I've hardly used these, and it really, I was not doing my job, enamel dot assortments actually, in letting you know about these. These are the enamel dot essentials. Look how many I've not used. I've hardly used them, but they're great. Navy, crumb cake, and white. Like, they are perfect, but I guess I just didn't reach for them. I guess I didn't make anything navy. So there's 3 sizes. So here's the big size here. And the only reason why I have this one down here, and I do think it looks okay, is because I smudged it with yellow ink. So then I thought, oh, I gotta fix that somehow. So there's that, the brushed brass butterflies, which is always difficult to say. And then there's a deckled rectangle piece of vellum on some designer paper. So you don't need to emboss. Use some designer paper to give it a different look. So here I think what you're starting to see, hopefully, is that you have some options on how you are going to use your placement. And I have one more for you. So seeing that mom, we have Happy Mother's Day, I thought, why don't we do one for dad too? So let's take a look at this one. So this one is not at all what you might think our template is like. But if we take the original one and if we go like this, it's actually a lot like that layout. So it shows you that you just need to think a little bit outside of that box, that sometimes we get ourselves sort of, you know, we get boxed into something. And this one here, these are the Rugged Icons dies. Something else I didn't use all that much. I used it for my paper party, this one right here. This is great. This is a fishing rod with a fish on it. Here's the guitar. There's also a drill, and I think this is a beard. To me, this looks like a Nordic kind of something, but I think it's a beard. So those are on sale right now too. They are being retired. So there's a bunch of different ideas for you, all from the same layout. And that's really what I want you to think about, is when you're crafting, is take a layout, take any layout that's out there and see what you can do with it to try and change it up.